that they're changing my voice. Now, it's very sad what's going on in the Middle East, okay? But I want you people to understand something. When it comes to the test of life, God is a Royal African Falcon, martial arts warrior. Now, what's the difference? Well, when you look at this thing and you see, Conan the Barbarian, the samurais, a Roman warrior, an Asian warrior, a Native American warrior, you go through the list, you try to understand what's the difference. Well, part of the difference has to do with the source, right? Following the breadcrumbs back to the source, right? Bethlehem is the house of bread. Egypt's like the warehouse of bread. And the Igbo tribe, certain components of them, historically was the kind of source of bread right before God. Okay, that's one way to look at it. So kind of you follow the breadcrumbs through, the story of the Abrahamic faiths, right? Through Egypt, where it's the source of their story to that, at that point. And the ultimate source is God. But in between God and Egypt is the kind of tribe, the type that, there's a subtype in that tribe that is the kind of go-to man from God, and that's me. And I'm the last representative ever. So the Lord expects people to kind of be a martial art warrior. That's the source of that story, right? Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. It's this African martial art commitment to God. It's hard to describe to people what it is. It's something that's in my being, in my subconscious. It's not something that is commonly discussed in language. The words really aren't there. But I think one good point of reference to help you kind of understand, to help you get closer to understanding, is a kind of samurai. When I read it somewhere that a samurai had said, probably the Hagakure, that you have to prepare your whole life for death. You have to visualize being swept away by a flood, killed by an earthquake, killed in battle, tortured, everything you can imagine. Every day, imagine being killed. Imagine, and be mentally prepared to die. And then you come to terms with death. You come to terms with suffering. But you have to be on the path. See, no one else is doing this, or else they'd be obeying God through me. Something's keeping them from obeying God through me because they didn't come to terms with the fact that I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the idea that Christ is superimposed on, because the story is lost in translation, and it's lost in kind of plagiarism, right? They took the idea from Egypt, who were the Igbos, or some group that's similar to the Igbos, that's most embodied. The things they're talking about is most embodied by certain Igbos. Okay, they took the story from them. So you have to be prepared to die. You have to live in the divine order. And then suffering is not such a big thing. I'm targeted. Every day they feel me and they do stuff that causes me pain and frustration, and on and on and on. And I'm kept from dating. I'm kept from drinking certain things, right? I can't drink water because they do something to it and make it so I have to drink sugary drinks instead that are bad for me, and they mess up my shape and the way I look, and so on and so forth. But I've come to terms with the fact that I live and die for God. Now, if you say, well, you go to a church and you say, oh, praise this and that, that's not God. That's not God's spirit. The word, the martial art action, the Royal African Falcon martial art action, that is God. The essence of that, the father of that, the source of that is God. Everything else is something else. It's a deceit. It's a lie. It's a falsehood. It's falsehood. So you have to be in the repetition of being willing to die for God while serving God. And when your ancestors chose to deviate from that and reproduce, what then happened? Then you lost the way. And God is punishing you. It's a curse to lose the way, because then your suffering is in vain. Your labor is in vain. You're living falsehood. You're relying on false idols. Your elders are false idols. Your religions are idolatry. No offense to anybody. This is the truth. The things that you put your faith in, your churches, your mosques, your synagogues, no offense to them, this is the truth. The essence of the message is that you're supposed to obey God through me. I am Christ. I am Horus. I am Jesus. I am Isa. I'm the Messiah. I'm the Savior. I'm the Good Shepherd, the way, the truth, the life. the bread of life, the water of life. Mighty God, mighty warrior, the most excellent of men. I am the good shepherd. I am the falcon king. I am the way to God. And you know this because the throne is established in righteousness. You know this because the one who's from above is above all. You know this because it says that the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than the greatest outside the kingdom of heaven. How about the one in the flesh who is the greatest ever in the flesh, ever possible? God set me apart as a light to point the way. And I've proven, like in John 16:25, that the Bible is written in a figurative way, in the same spirit that the character Christ in the story is speaking in when he says that he's been speaking figuratively. In Isaiah, it says that God blinds the sinners. Well, if you're telling them the truth in a straightforward way, they're not going to be blinded, are they? So the Bible's written in a figurative manner, and it's all throughout the Bible. Psalm 18:42, Jeremiah 4:13, Jeremiah 13:24, on and on. Some places it's clear that it's figurative. Isaiah 30, clear. Verse 30, clear. So I really want to make this video really short. And it's a shame, you know, because if people were working with me, I would be making these videos short, and I would be doing a better job, and they would be saying it in their words, and they'd be used to what I'm trying to say and how I say it, and their words would switch up, and you'd have a much, much greater presentation, especially if the government wasn't interfering, to their extreme disgrace. All these videos compared to when I was speaking the way I was speaking, maybe 10, 20 years ago, they don't compare, even with all that less research. Because the Spirit of God is greater than the spirit of the white man. It's greater than the spirit of the Jews. Greater than the spirit of the LGBT community. Their spirits are interfering with God's work. They have defined themselves spiritually. It's not a racial and racist argument. Spiritually, their cultures, their spirit, their movements, their intentions, their motives have defined themselves as deceivers and interferers. That's the heritage that they pass their offspring as they suppress who I am. Nothing good there. Nothing good comes from suppressing me and persecuting me my whole life. So when it comes from that corporate level, right, to the surfer, the skater, the biker, the rock star, the jock, the emo, the goth, the corporate guy, on and on, right, the crest wearing guy, the royal, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's all that deceit. Because they're supposed to switch from their flesh-based racial culture and hierarchy and their idolatrous spirits into the true spirit of truth, and to stop cheating the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order. Because of the color of my skin, because I'm not from their patriarchal lines, because I don't obey their magicians, because they've structured things in a way that is sacrilegious, and they put that before the order of God. Completely pathetic. Pathetic. Despicable. What's more disgusting than that? Than all the energy and all the spirit and all the effort they put into counterfeiting the order of God. What is more sickening than that?